Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ask Dr. Renee show. I'm your host, Dr. Renee. This show is here to motivate, inspire, and help you to live the life you deserve. If this is your first time watching our show, some of our past guests have included. This past Friday, we had a special show with Paul Carrick-Brunson, Elvira Guzman of LVGPR, Shanti Das, the hip-hop professional of Press Reset Entertainment, Sherry Riley of Exponential Living, Cupid, the R&B singer and dance party king with the Cupid Shuffle, and Felicia Butterfield-Jones of Ween. You can watch all the old episodes on my website, askdrrenee.info, as well as my YouTube channel, which is Ask Dr. Renee, AskDrRenee, as you see below me. Our guest tonight is Lindsey Parks. She's better known as MoneyGraphics. She is the ultimate graphic designer and brand builder. And I will let her tell us more about all the fabulous things she does. And one thing she did do is she created my business cards, which I've gotten lots of compliments on, and I love them to pieces. So welcome to the show, Lindsey.
Thank you so much. I am Lindsey Parks, and as Dr. Renee said, better known as Money or MoneyGraphics. I am a graphic designer. I currently own 2 companies. I just launched a new one. Well, I guess kind of working on a third, but for the last 8 years, I have owned MoneyGraphics and been the sole owner and designer for so many people. I love what I do. All kinds of different things, everything from design and print, from business cards to logos to anything that you could think of. I pretty much do it all.
She does banners. She does CD labels. She does posters.
Yeah, CD inserts, flyers, brochures, all kinds of different kinds of business cards, from plastic business cards, clear plastic business cards, frosted, all kinds of, just about anything that you could think of, I do it.
Yeah, and the best, she's a one-stop shop. So she designs the stuff as well as prints the stuff. So that's like the coolest part of it is she'll design your logo, but then she'll print all your marketing materials as well. So we'll talk about that more later. So let's get into it. So Lindsey, you and I were on a panel at a conference together, and I was blown away by your story because you were just at the conference. I didn't know anybody at the conference, and I saw you sitting there. I had no idea you had created all that stuff that you were sitting at the table with. And I know that you are going to motivate and inspire someone by sharing your story, so I really do appreciate you being with us. So can you tell us about growing up in Calhoun, Missouri, and where is that in reference to, say, St. Louis or Chicago?
Oh, Calhoun, Missouri. I was actually back home this last weekend, and I saw that they have changed the population sign, so it has Calhoun now has 462 people. Originally, it was 450 people when I grew up. So, we've gained
12
gained a
people.
Few.
Alrighty then.
I tell people all the time when they ask me, where are you from? I'm like, Calhoun, Missouri. They're like, where on earth is that? I'm like, well, it's a little town in Missouri. It's got 450 people, and they're like, we had 450 people in our apartment building, or more than that, or 450 people in our graduating high school class, and growing. Okay, so Calhoun is an hour and 15 minutes south of Kansas City, and so I kind of grew up, Kansas City, everything, whether it was the Royals, the Chiefs. My brother is an avid Jayhawks fan, and so we were, Kansas City sports. Moved to Columbia, where I now currently reside, whenever I was 15 years old. My mom is a teacher. Well, she was a teacher, and she got a job as the administrative assistant for special education in Columbia. And so I moved to Columbia with her at 15 and graduated from Rockbridge High School. And there were just about as many people in my graduating class as there was in my whole town that I grew up in. So, but living in Calhoun, as small as it was, and I was thinking about this when I was back home, because I went from a small town girl who we had 2 classrooms in one. So there was it was kindergarten had its own, but then first and second was together, third and fourth, fifth, and then my 6th grade year, they divided the classes. So I had my 6th grade class all by myself, but I was always going to school, every day with a different grade. And I was thinking this weekend how it was funny because I went from a town with 450 people to my artwork being displayed on Entertainment Tonight in the last 6 months, and it's just how did I get here? It just... And you
Okay,
know
I
what?
didn't
This
know about
song,
Entertainment Tonight. Oh my goodness,
oh, you
that's
didn't know about
huge.
it?
No, I don't know how I missed it, but somehow I missed that. But
Yes.
that is huge. So now we understand where Calhoun is. So tell us, how did you get from, Columbia, Missouri to from 15 years old in Columbia, Missouri to where you are now? Because, I mean, the amazing thing to me is that you said, I think, how old you were at the conference, and I was like, oh my God, she's so young and she's done so much.
You know, this is the hard part, Dr. Renee. Like, does everybody else cry on the show? Because this will be the tearjerker part of my story.
Okay, this will be our inaugural cry, but okay.
and you know this because I got up on the panel in Chicago and cried. Yeah. I am a recovering drug addict, and I went through a lot of personal things growing up and in my early 20s, and kind of had a traumatic experience and turned to drugs as, a self-medicator. And so I got clean in August of 2006, so I'm going on 9 years this August, and my father passed away 3 months later, and and so after my dad passed away, I went back home to help with the family business, and there was a friend of mine who I used to run with on the streets. He wanted to be a rapper, and I've always kind of liked art, and so after my dad passed away about 6 months later, I purchased a laptop and a $60 Photoshop program, and just started to learn this stuff on my own, and somehow it just magically took off through MySpace, and I don't know, I just always had the ability to network and, connect with people, and somehow MySpace turned into a lot of different connections, and DJ to Sick One is a friend of mine, and he's from Killeen, Texas, but he was living close to Columbia at the time, and he kind of took me under his wing and taught me a lot about graphics, and then he took me to the Southern Entertainment Awards in 2008, where I met so many of the people I still work with today. I mean, it kind of amazes me that I still work with these people years and years later. And you know what? Just being everywhere all the time. You know what? I guess, to be honest, really how it happened, it was just God. It was just Him. Like, I don't really know how to explain it. It was divine intervention. He gave me something else to. He put something else in front of me instead of going back and, into my same old cycle of drugs and, wasting my life. He actually gave me something else to look forward to, and so I've become a little OCD with my graphics, and I think that that kind of helps whenever you find something that you love and it's healthy for you, and so that's what I've been doing since 2000 and I guess the end of 2006. 2007. 2007 is when I kind of started doing it all. So,
now, how did you quit the drugs? I mean, I hear like Wendy Williams, who just went cold turkey, was like, okay, I'm done. And then, I have friends, unfortunately, that have been in rehab over rehab over rehab, and are still,
You know what? It was a lot of different things. It was. I completely believe that everything happens for a reason. I think that God puts the right people in your life, and there was, my mom sent me a letter, and in her letter, she basically told me that she could no longer accept the life that I was living with myself, and that when the phone would ring, she felt like, she was afraid that it was going to be the police, someone telling her that I had been arrested or I had died. And so she sent me this letter, and just basically, that she just couldn't have anything to do with me. And it's not that she didn't love me. She just couldn't keep worrying. She couldn't keep putting, my stepdad and his kids, because his kids were a lot younger at the time when all of this was going on. My stepbrothers and sisters, who are now, my youngest sister is, she's a freshman in college this year, and so she's 18. So when she was like, 9, all of this was going on. And so, my mom had to, kind of make a choice. And it wasn't that she was choosing them over me. She was choosing her life over my lifestyle. And she just couldn't do it anymore. And so that was one thing. And then my family, Oh, my brother, my mom, and my dad all showed up at my doorstep one day and demanded that I go to rehab, and I went to rehab, and it was for a couple days, and then I walked out and said I'm not going to do this again, and went back home. And my dad had told me, you know, the police know that you're letting people use your car to sell drugs, and that kind of hit home to me because conspiracy is 10 years federal, you know, 10 years minimum in the federal penitentiary. And I started looking at my life, and I had two choices. I could either go to jail and spend 10 years there if I was to get caught doing the things that I was doing, because snitching was never an option for me, because I knew that if there was something that, you know, I talked about, that my life was going to be in danger. And in regards to the whole, like, snitching thing, I feel like if you're a part of the game and you're doing it and you know what you're doing wrong, then you know, you do the time. You know, you don't, if there's other players in the game, you just don't tell on them. That's my whole thing with snitching. I think that there are plenty of other things that people don't tell that I think that they should, but I feel like if you're the guilty party in it too, I'm not about to tell on somebody else who's doing the same thing as me just to get less time. I think it's the code of the streets, and so my dad told me that, and then I was up one night at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was watching Intervention, and it was an out-of-body experience, watching, basically it was my family, and I was the erratic drug addict that they were, you know, all talking to. And then I had a friend from Texas who drove all the way up from Dallas to knock on my door to tell me to get my life together, who is still one of my very good friends to this day, and comes over and mows my yard because he knows that I won't. And then I had another friend who just, one night I just had a complete breakdown, and he just sat there and he just let me cry. And the next day I called my mom and I said, Mom, I'm ready to go to rehab. And she sat down with me and she said, I hope you are. But her, I think her hope was there, but she didn't really trust me anymore, you know, and to see that. And so I took my last child support check that I got, and I put gas in the car, and I went down and I stayed with my dad until I was able to get into a rehab in Kansas City, and it was state funded. And I went and I did 30 days in rehab, and then I did their 6-month drug program. And it was there that I found life again. It was I think that God knows everything that we're going to go through before we ever go through it. And in this situation, there had been a lot of signs throughout my entire life that all kind of came to a culminating event whenever I was in rehab. And it was from, you know, my first Bible that my grandma ever gave me was the Living Bible. And the Bible that we got when I was in rehab and in recovery is the Recovery Bible, which is the New Living Translation. And the Living Bible is actually no longer in print, but it is now the New Living Translation. And so I kind of looked at that as, you know, I don't think my grandma knew. And then, you know, I used to, I had a little journal that had the, you know, God grant me the serenity prayer on it. And that is one of the things that, you know, we open every AA meeting with. And so it was like all of these things just kind of like started coming to me. And I had a counselor in there who made me dig deep inside of myself to figure out what the real problems were. And there were just amazing people in there. And to see people who were 30, 20 years clean, to sit down and say, there is life after this. And it was seeing their stories of success, and to continue, I kept coming back. I kept going to the AA. I was in AA meetings 5 days a week. You know, sometimes 2 AA meetings twice a day, 5 days a week. I was just there. I got involved, and it changed my life. The 12-step program, it's not, for me, the 12-step program is not just about drugs and alcohol. It's more about a way of life. And, you know, at this point, actually, I have to 12-step myself through some other things, because a lot of things I have to admit that I'm powerless over. People, I'm powerless over other people, but I can't allow my life to become unmanageable. And so what I've done is I've taken that 12 steps, you know, that I learned in AA and NA and CA, and I've kind of applied it to my life, and that's what keeps me clean and keeps me going.
That
I could
is
go on about that
wonderful.
forever.
No, that's great though. I mean, and it's I'm glad that that worked for you, and you know, you were example of, you know, they really do work. The 12 steps work, and so that's wonderful. 9 years is a wonderful accomplishment, and I know you'll be like those other people with 20 and 30.
I hope so.
Oh,
And
I
you know,
know
and
you will.
I talk about it there whenever I first got clean. I know that it bothered my family whenever I talked about it so much, because it was very that's one of the things that I had to learn in recovery too, is that my drug addiction did not just affect me, it affected my family. And so, you know, when I first got clean, I wanted to talk about it all the time. You know, I wanted to talk about it because that's kind of my way of keeping it there, keeping it relevant. And I know that it bothered my mom for quite some time that I continued to talk about it. But then, you know, one day I sat down and, you know, and I'll talk about it occasionally on my Twitter, my Instagram, Facebook, not as much as I used to. But, you know, I continue to talk about it because I feel I want other people to know that there is a life after that. And I feel like if I can talk about it and let people know that I've been there, then maybe that will give them, you know, just a sense of hope if they are in that dark, dark place and they don't know how to get out of it.
Exactly, and that's what I was saying. That's why I wanted to have you on the show, because I knew that there's somebody out there that it might not even be drug addiction, but you know, they are extremely down on their luck, and they don't think that it's possible to get out of it. And you're a perfect example of someone who went from, you know, you just said your last child support payment, you went and you did this because this is the last money you had, and then now look at the business you have, and we'll talk later, but she just got Office Space, and I mean, you know, she's really growing her businesses, you know, the way you're supposed to grow a business. So it's really wonderful to watch and just be witness to in the last few years, just, you know, all the things you've done and your travels, and so it's really wonderful to see all that. Yeah, it's great. And then, you know, I couldn't think why you drive to all these places. Then I remembered all the stuff you have to take, so I figured, oh, it makes better sense to drive than to ship all that.
Yeah, I can't. No, and you know, I think I've gotten to the point now where I'll probably be flying more and taking less, just because, you know, I've built my business, and it's not that I don't want to take all of that promotional material, but look, I have driven to Las Vegas and then to Miami. I have driven all over the world, and I'm tired. I'm ready for a plane ride.
Right. Yeah, I don't blame you, not at all. So can you talk to that single mother, like I said, that is down on her luck, and, you know, because we didn't mention Lindsey does have a daughter, Dominique, right?
I do. She's 12, yeah. I'm surprised that she's not in here trying to be a part of the interview. And if my phone hadn't died, she'd probably be texting me because she's been asking me about it all day. What do they want to talk to you about? Are they going to ask you if you have a child? And I'm like, yes.
So she has a daughter, and she has this business. So can you speak to that single mother that has a dream deep down in her and can't figure out her way out? You know, there's all these different programs now. Even, you know, before when we started, it was nothing. It was just, you just had to grind and do it. But now, you know, because the economy tanked and all that, they have so many things out there to help people to get businesses started, because they did realize that these small businesses can help the economy a tremendous amount. So can you speak to that?
You know what, there's going to be, I guess I kind of relate it to being like a new mom whenever your baby is first born, and how you get no sleep and you're just absolutely exhausted. And that is honestly how I have been living my life for the last 8 years, is I'm exhausted. I don't get a lot of rest, but that's because I have dreams that are bigger, that are worth more than my sleep. Although as I get older, I definitely know that sleep is
very important.
Extremely important.
Very important.
Yes, it is. And you know what? When people hit me up at 11 o'clock at night, I get so mad because I have to go to bed. But you know, it's that kids are resilient, and one of the things that I have had a very hard time with is feeling like my daughter doesn't get enough of my time, that my business comes before her. And it's difficult, and I don't know that she fully understands yet, but my dad was the same way. My father worked, you know, he worked so many hours, and as I grew up and I realized my father and I had, it wasn't a bad relationship. I just felt like he wasn't as available as I wanted him to be. And it took me 25 years and in rehab with a great counselor to realize that my dad loved me the best way that he knew how, even if it wasn't, you know, the way that I wanted. He loved me the best way that he knew how. And so I've kind of taken some of those lessons that I learned from my dad, and although it was hard for me, I learned my work ethic from him. And I think that that's one of the things that keeps me going, is that, you know, even though I may not be home as much, well, actually I'm home all the time, I'm just not engaged in what's going on. Yeah, presence. Right. I'm there and I'm working and I'm home all the time because I work from home, but there's so many times that my daughter will be like, Mom, you're not listening, are you? And I'll be like, I'm sorry, Dominique, let me finish this flyer, and then, you know, and then we can sit down and talk about it. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of times that the flyer turned into the next flyer and the next flyer, and we didn't get to have that conversation. And so I've learned that it is important for me to step back and take the time to give her some time. And, you know, for Christmas this year, I gave her a trip to Disney World. And so it was really Mom and Dominique time. And I just recently purchased some office space, and so she has been up there painting with me and helping me decorate. And, you know, she went shopping with me today, and it's those moments in the car where I actually have the time to be present with her and talk to her about things that are going on. And I told her the other day that whatever her dreams were, whatever she wanted to do whenever she got older, that she would have my 100% support, because she is my biggest cheerleader. She's my biggest supporter, and she's definitely the best thing that's ever happened to me. She makes me laugh, and I hope that one day she won't hold it against me too much that I, you know, wasn't around, but she's also, you know, she gets to benefit from all of this not being around. And it's hard to be a single mom and an entrepreneur, and I don't think there really is any balance. I've been searching for it for a very long time, and I read something on Entrepreneur about 6 months ago that said, stop looking for the balance. You're an entrepreneur, you're probably not going to find it. And so make some time for your family, but know that if you keep looking for that balance, you may never have it. And so I think once I kind of accepted the fact that this balance thing is not something that may be able to happen right away, that kind of let me relax a little bit. But I mean, it still weighs heavily on my heart that, you know, I don't get to spend as much time with her as I would like to, and most of our nights I'm working and she's doing homework and hanging out and dancing and singing and all of that fun stuff. You know, I wish I could dance and sing with her, but I think working so much has kind of taken my sense of humor away right now. So I'm working on it, though. But I think the biggest thing is just to never give up, and you're never too old to do anything that you want. And, you know, the future starts now, and, you know, your past doesn't make you who you are. And so even though you may have gone through some things, your past doesn't have to determine your future. And anything you want to do, it just takes small steps. Small steps are better than no steps. And starting from the beginning, take one day at a time, which is also something that I learned in AA, is you take one day at a time, and each day you do something a little more to help you get there, whether it's, you know, I do a lot of research. I do a lot of reading. Well, not reading like that. I wish I had time for books, but I look at things on the internet and research, you know, what it is that I'm looking for, and I listen to, you know, motivational speakers. I love Les Brown, and I will get up every morning and listen to Les Brown because he just gets me going. And it's just, you have to wake up and take the day. Each day and every day you have to wake up and say, this day is mine, and I am going to be absolutely amazing because I have nothing better to do. I wake up every day and I say that to myself, like, you know what, you're going to be amazing today because what else do you have better to do?
Exactly. You have to claim it. When I woke up a few years ago, like literally I felt like I woke up, and I realized that I could, you know, wait for this and wait for that and wait for that to be happy, but in all honesty, I just needed to choose to be happy, and I could be happy right now today. So every day there's this ritual I go through, and it was funny. My friend had posted it on like New Year's Day, and I said, I'm going to do that every day. No, I said I was going to try. And she put a message back and was like, try, Doc. You can't just try. You have to do. And I said, and I erased it and was like, I'm going to do it. So I take 4 cleansing breaths in through the mouth, out through the nose, and then, no, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Then I do, I say thank you. Just grateful to God. Just thank you. I smile for absolutely no reason. And then and I'll find the little thing and send it to you. And then I accept my, what do I do? I forgive myself for my mistakes from yesterday.
Ooh.
Right? And then I set my intention for today. And every day I do that. And I'm like, and I mean, before, like I said, this is a new thing that my friend had posted on Facebook that I saw this year. But a couple years ago, I woke up and decided, you can be miserable or you can be happy. And you can choose to be happy. And so every day I look for one win. And I mean, my win could be small. It could be as small as me getting 50 cents off of a box of cereal. I mean, it could be very small. But I'm so grateful for that. Just that little thing is enough to make me really happy. I'm a very simple person.
I love quotes. I'm a really big quote person. I just love them. And I saw a quote that says, pain is inevitable. Misery is a choice. And that, to me, spoke volumes because it's so true. Pain is going to happen. You're going to go through times that are going to be painful. It is going to hurt. You're going to scream. You're going to cry. You're going to ask, why me? But it will subside. Being miserable because of that pain is your choice. It's all about choice. You can either wake up today and be miserable, or you can wake up today and say, I'm going to take this today and I'm going to get done everything that I can get done and I'm going to be great. Your attitude determines your altitude. My mom told me that all the time whenever I was a little girl, and I'm just like, what do you mean your attitude is, determines your altitude? Right. And now I get it. It really is all about your attitude. And people, especially in business, with my company, I believe that the experience goes beyond sight. It's not just about the product that you receive, it's about the customer service experience that you have with our company. And, having a positive attitude when people irritate you to death is imperative. Still being able to smile when you have created, the logo for the 26th time and you just want to, just scream. And the good thing about working at home and by myself, I don't know how this is going to work out when I have an assistant, is that if I need to scream, I can. But it's about taking those deep breaths and reapproaching the situation in a calm, cool manner. And sometimes I get hot and I have to, step back and walk away. And I know that my boyfriend wishes that I would do that a whole lot more in our relationship, like I do it like in business. But, I'm still a work in progress. God is not finished with me yet.
I understand. I completely understand. But it's so imperative that you, like I said, you choose to be happy and you start your day with intention that it's going to be a great day. I mean, I can start the day with intention it's going to be a great day and go have a flat tire, but not let the flat tire ruin my day. That's my whole thing is like, okay, this is not going to ruin my day. I'm going to look on this positively at thank you, Jesus. I could call someone to change the tire, and the car is okay, and we're okay, and we'll just keep moving.
Absolutely.
And, people call me Positive Polly, but I was like, I just don't have time to be miserable. Because what I did realize when I was clinically depressed was that it just stayed like that, and it never got better, and it just stayed, and I was just gloomy and gloomy. And so when I figured out how to get myself out of that, I was like, we cannot go back to that situation again. So, I remember The Secret. In 2007 is when The Secret, was on Oprah and everything. And it's funny because a lot of people were like, Renee, how did you know about that? And I go, what are you talking about? Because I hadn't even seen the episode yet. And they were like, that's the way you live your life. Like, everything you say, it happens. And I was like, huh? So then I watched it, and I was like, you're right. But it was funny. I was using it in certain aspects of my life, but not in all of my life. So some parts I was miserable, and other parts, they were working out, but some parts I was dying. So I figured out, okay, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be glad, and I had a job I couldn't stand, and I went to the office, and I would just be cheesing, And I'll never forget one day my boss was like screaming at me. And I just sat there smiling like an idiot. And do you know, I literally watched that man slowly start to apologize to me. I really wanted to pinch myself, like, is this really happening?
Yeah,
like, did I just turn this man's words around? Literally, it worked. And then another time, same office, one of the people in the office said, why are you the only person smiling in here? I said, because I realized that my days are numbered and I don't have to be here.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I'm telling you, I was the happiest person ever. I was like, I would listen to The Secret on the audiobook when I went to sleep, and then I listened to it every day on the train walking to the office. And it just was just a life changer. I just was like, oh, wait a minute. You can really have these things. You just really have to believe you can have it and, see it and then wait for it to happen.
And work for it.
Yeah, well, no,
you
exactly.
work for it.
yeah, well, faith without works is dead, which is why, I grind like I do. But you have to believe it. And if you can see, and that's the other thing I do, creative visualization. I did a audio class with Lisa Nichols from The Secret, and I literally look at a blank space on my wall before I get out of bed, and I vision my life like a movie, and I look at like 5-10 years from now, and I see different things, and, and I'm just, and it's like a vision board, but it's not really, it's not quite a vision board, but it's really interesting. And you literally do it with your eyes open, which I was like, shouldn't your eyes be closed? She's like, no, open your eyes and look at some blank space and just look at it. Because if you can see it, then you got it. I was like, okay, I got this. This will work.
I think when I was younger, when I was 16 years old. Yeah, when I was 16, I tried to kill myself, and I did not succeed, and I was in the hospital for a few days, and I did this outpatient therapy class, and it was called cognitive therapy, and it was all about changing your negative thoughts into positive thoughts. And I think that unfortunately negativity consumes us. There's negativity everywhere. Every time we open up our phones, it's on Instagram, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on the news, it's in the newspapers. There's so much negativity that I think that sometimes we take on that negativity. And you know what? And that goes for friends and people in your life too. Misery loves company. And I have had to learn to separate myself from those negative people and understand that your problems are not my problems. And I've taken on people's problems for years, but I've got my own baggage back here. I don't need anybody else's. And with that cognitive therapy, I had a lot of negative thoughts, and I still have to practice this to this day, is that whenever I have a negative thought, I have to recognize it, stop it, and then turn it into a positive.
Yeah.
And the more I work on that, it could be, I feel really fat right now. And that's, saying negative, it's negative self-talk. But if I say, you know what, I may not be the weight that I want to be, but I'm going to work towards getting to the weight that I want to be. It's all about changing how you talk to yourself and how you envision your life. And it's, it really is that, that positive self-talk and that positive, seeing yourself in a different place. And there was a couple years ago, I had done an interview on Fly Media Productions with some web designers that I'm really good friends with. And they said, where do you want to be in 5 years? And I said, well, I want to start this new company. I kind of want to go in a more corporate direction. I hope to have my own office space. And here it is. I spoke it into existence. It's about seeing what it is that you want and going for it. And it doesn't have to be in the front of your mind all the time. I don't wake up every single day and say, oh, I want office space, or I want this, or I want that. But it's just kind of knowing that that's what I'm working towards, and then revisiting that goal, randomly, or, however long after. And I had actually forgot about that interview until Sherry had brought it up to me and was like, Lindsey, it's so inspiring to me to see that you have done the things that you talked about when you said you wanted to be there in 5 years. It's all about that visual and seeing it and believing it and working to achieve it.
Yes, definitely. I remember you had started another Instagram account, and it was a lot of your quotes on it.
Oh, my
And
family?
I don't remember you had another Instagram account, and you were
I've
putting a
got
whole bunch of.
three.
Yeah, you had, and so you were putting a lot of quotes, and they were really good quotes. So, what do you have a favorite
Oh.
quote or a favorite scripture? Because I know that you quote a lot of scripture as well.
You know what? I guess there's so many of them, but I think that one of my favorite quotes would be "God first and great mornings," because I wake up every day and God is the first thing on my mind, and He is the first thing that I have to keep Him first in everything that I do, and I feel like that's my secret to success, is by keeping Him first and, you know, trying to live a life that He would be proud of. That doesn't mean that I don't sin, because I'm by far from perfect, but I keep Him first, and I don't allow the worldly things to come in between my relationship with Him. So it's God first and great morning, because I'm a morning. God first and great mornings.
Okay.
Because I'm a morning person, and so whenever I wake up and I, address social media, it's always with God first and great morning. So I think that's definitely it.
Let me just remind everyone that's watching, if you have any questions, you need to click on the little boxes in the upper right-hand corner. It'll say Q&A. Click that, and then it'll drop down to the right side of your screen, and it'll say Ask a Question on the bottom. And you can enter your questions anytime now, and we will take them. So, just like you said earlier, you never imagined this would be your life. What, as a child, did you think about what you wanted to do and, fantasize about, oh, this is what I'm going to do? Or
I wanted to be an Oscar-winning actress. I had a little Oscar, a picture of an Oscar from the TV Guide that was like taped to my wall forever. I wanted to be an actress.
Wow. Was it never too late? You still wanted oh.
No, I don't. I'm good. I don't really want any piece of fame, to be honest. I'm good. Yeah, it's not. My daughter wants to be famous. She sees me work with various people, and she's like, "Mom, are you famous? Do you know these people?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know them personally. I know their people, and so I work for them through their people, but I don't know them personally."
Yeah.
She wants to be famous, though.
I see. Another budding Beyonce or something.
Yes, she loves to sing. That child never stops singing. I mean, she sings. She probably sings in her sleep, and I just don't hear it. She loves to sing, but she's not. She's timid in front of groups, and so she doesn't like to sing.
But there are so many entertainers that actually had the worst stage fright, and still do.
I need to get her into some singing lessons, because she would love it. She's in band. She likes to do anything. She's so much like me. It's almost kind of scary, because I'm like, oh, what are you going to do with your life? Because I sure didn't figure it out until I was 25. Excuse me.
But yeah, there's a lot of them that actually had stage fright and, didn't want to perform in front of groups and stuff, and now they're, selling out arenas of 10,000 people and stuff.
Oh, yeah, it's totally not for me. I did a panel in Miami last April at the Chord DJs conference, and I have all these great ideas and these things that I want to do, and then I get up there and I'm talking 100 miles an hour, like I have these great ideas, but they just don't really come over as well as I think that they're supposed to. I'm much better in small groups, public speaking. As much as I would love to do public speaking, it's definitely something that I'll have to work on, because I don't feel like my public speaking skills are, very good. A lot of people just get up there and they're just amazing, and I just
You're right.
Wow, I love that. That's not me.
Yeah, one of my other guests, she had a call with Les Brown. I heard you say you like Les Brown. So she invited me. It was only 30 people on the call, and he was so amazing. The man spoke for an hour and a half straight.
Oh.
And I was just sitting there like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And He had me on every word. And then he said he would take questions. And I was like, this call was supposed to be over like 30 minutes ago. And now he's going to take questions. So I had another friend that was on the call. And so we were texting each other, you going to ask the question? And I was like, I can't think of anything. And he's like, I'm not going to ask. So I thought of something. And I asked. And he talked to me. And I was on cloud 11. I was like, you know what, God, he spoke to me. He talked to me. And then gave me his email address. Was like, email me anytime. And the man responded when I emailed him. I said, oh my God, I'm done.
Yeah, he is. I love him. I do. I absolutely, what he speaks, it just, I don't know, it's like soul food. It just gets me every time. And I'm sorry, my cat keeps trying to join the interview. So if you see me like pushing something over here, it's because my cat won't chill out.
It's okay. So what is a day in the life of Lindsey like?
Oh, that depends on whether or not I got to sleep early the night before. But I like to go to sleep somewhere between 11 and 12 so that I can wake up about 4:30. I wake up at about 4:30, get up, and I start working immediately. And I love to get up that early because it gives me 2 hours of, no phone calls, no emails, no, Dominique's not up yet. So I start working somewhere between 4:30 and 6:30 every day, and then I take my daughter to school at 7:15, and I work all day, answering phone calls, emails, and doing what I love the most. And then I pick my daughter up about 3:45, and then I come home and I work some more, and then I try to cook dinner as often as possible instead of ordering out, and then I work usually until about 11 and do it all over again. A day in the life of me is nothing but work. Like, it's pretty, I'm hoping, I'm looking for an administrative assistant now to kind of help with all of the admin work, because I have found that I am spending so much time on admin work that I'm not able to, spend as much time on design. And so I'm currently hiring for the first time, looking for someone so that maybe in the evenings I'll have a chance to.
Now, would you be open to a virtual assistant?
Watch TV on Wednesdays. I love my Wednesdays and Thursdays. Can you hear me?
Would you be open to a virtual assistant? Would that work for you?
No.
Okay. Somebody might be watching and they might have been a VA. I see a lot of them in the blogger groups that,
You know what?
they
And
have virtual assistants.
I don't mean that to come across as so harsh, but my company, to me, it's very, very sensitive, and it's very dear to my heart. And so customer service is, absolutely one of the most important things to me, as well as organization. And I really want someone right there with me that I can help teach, and train, because I have, my philosophy that the experience goes beyond sight. I want, when people call, when people email, to feel like they are loved and their project is really cared about. And it's just extremely important to me that whoever I have working for me, fits that culture of what, I'm trying to create my company to be. And I just don't, virtual, I don't know how well that would work with everything that I have going on. Like, I really want someone, there who gets it and can understand my energy and my drive and my love for my company. And that's just not something that I'm willing to take my chance on in doing it virtually. Like, I
understand.
I need to look into their soul and know that they are in this to be great. And I've got 2 interviews tomorrow, and so I'm trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to, I've never done an interview. I've been the recipient of an interview,
exactly.
But being, actually doing the interview, yes, the interviewer, I'm like, how am I going to get out of these people what I really want to know, to whether or not, whether or not I'm going to know whether it's a good fit, and then how do you know in one interview?
Right.
That's scary.
It is very, but references. Don't forget references. Very important.
I need to call some references. Maybe I'll try to do that tomorrow morning. That's what I need an assistant for, is to, call them.
Right, right.
So sad.
So what is your definition of success?
My definition of success is being happy at what I'm doing. That's really my definition of success, is being happy at what I'm doing. And I'm a firm believer that nobody can determine what your success should be. I don't think that success can be defined by anyone but you, because people have different ideas and different levels of what success are. And so success for me is, definitely being happy, being able to live off of what it is that I love to do. Hopefully it will. I don't necessarily look for my company to make me rich. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it because I'm helping other people's dreams come true. And I think that the less I focus on money, the more often it comes in. When it's not, if I keep focusing on it and chasing after it, it's always going to escape me. But if I don't focus on the money and I focus on, keeping people happy and doing what I love, the money will just naturally come.
And what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Find something that you like to do that you can make money at.
Yep.
That was my dad.
Smart man.
Yes. He always told me, Lindsey, you know what, I think that he dealt with some of the issues that I have with myself is, idle minds and idle hands are the devil's playground. And
I say it all the time.
And so, my dad always told me, Lindsey, you need to keep busy. Whatever it is that you're doing, just make sure that you stay busy. And I never understood that. And then he always used to tell me, you know what, find something that you like to do that you can make money at. And, I wish that he was still around for me to be able to say, hey, look, Dad, I made it. I found something that I like to do that I can make money at. But, I know he's with me, and I know that he's, always looking out and watching down.
Now, what was the family business that you had to do?
Oh, well, it's actually still up and running. My father started a cabinet making company called Parks Cabinets, and it was Parks Cabinet Shop, and started that, I want to say, in like 1983, or about the time I was 3 years old, so 83, 84. And when he passed away, it came down to my two brothers and I, and now my brother Ryan currently is running Parks. He dropped the shop, and so now it's just Parks Cabinets, and I've gotten to do all of their branding. And so, we finally created a logo after no logo for the shop for 30 years, and, business cards and the logos on the trucks, and the guys have shirts, and, it's awesome to be able to watch my father's legacy still continue to grow and, be something amazing. Like I got a little teary-eyed this last time when I went down there, because my brother, I asked if he had a tape measure, because my dad always carried around these Stanley metal tape measures. And so I had one of my brothers, and I was like, do you have one with Dad's name engraved? And so, he gave me one with my dad's name engraved on it. And it just, to be able to go back home to that little town of 450 people and to still see my brother being successful at what my father started. And I feel like I, too, get to carry on my dad's legacy, because my dad was an entrepreneur, and all of my brothers are entrepreneurs, and I am, too. And so that's, and that's, MoneyGraphics has always been my urban design company, and I recently have kind of changed the name. I haven't really decided what I wanted to do. I started a new company called Studio 59, and now I'm kind of thinking about just kind of joining them and starting to go everything be Studio 59 versus MoneyGraphics. MoneyGraphics be a division of Studio 59, but 59 is my dad's birthday, and so I named my new company in honor of him.
And so what are you trying to do with Studio 59?
Studio 59, I really want to be my more corporate identity, because MoneyGraphics is very urban. I've done, all kinds of things within the urban music industry and urban entertainment industry, because a lot of stuff that I've been doing lately has been, with actors and actresses. And so Studio 59 is just more the corporate thing, and it's something that, you know, I could advertise. I've got attorneys, contractors, cabinet shops. It's just more of that corporate vibe. So whenever I get the website up, I want people to go look and see the brand identity. Whereas with, you know, MoneyGraphics, you can go to my website and you can see club flyers and, you know, anything that's geared towards the entertainment industry, whether it's media kits, CD inserts, CD duplication. Those aren't really things that you would see in a corporate world. So that's, you know, I've worked with, you know, chiropractors and eye doctors, and so that's where I want to showcase all of that stuff. So whenever I talk to somebody and, you know, they're like, oh, what can you do as far as brand identity goes? Here, go to Studio 59, and they can actually see, you know, entire packages of things that I've done.
Now, I know I referred you to my friend Eric, and you made a whole bunch of
love him.
Yeah. So you, like I said, you don't just design logos and print them. Like, you understand the whole marketing and branding piece too?
Yes. It's, you know, I think this is kind of where I get into trouble because I love everybody that I work with. And so, you know, I get involved in their projects and I listen to what it is that people are trying to do and where they're trying to go. And then I help create this signature look for them that will be able to, you know, they can brand themselves with. Eric came to me with a, you know, he already had a logo, so he didn't need that. But then I took that logo and, you know, created some other things for him, you know, his EPK and some flyers, all still kind of going along with the, you know, original look of his logo. So that whenever people see Eric B. Horn, they know, or even if they see some imagery that is similar to what he has, people can connect it.
Yeah, that's cool. And that was another thing at that conference. It was DJ Dimepiece's conference. Yes. I had no idea that you had created all that until much later. I figured that out, and I said, oh.
Yes, I haven't. Her logo was done by another designer, but we've taken that logo, and I mean, just, oh gosh, we've done so much stuff with DJ Dimepiece. She's such a, I love working with her because she's always got something new going on, something, you know, and so it's like we're always kind of reinventing, you know, and doing new things fresh. And she is, you know, she's my sister from another mister, and, you know, we vibe crazy. We're just two, you know, young women trying to get out here and get it. And so, you know, we feed a lot off of each other. And she's one of those clients when I have an idea about something new, I always like to try it out on her because I know that she'll let me.
Well, I will say, for my stuff, I needed these business cards in a short amount of time, and I was flying out to New Orleans, and those cards made it to New Orleans before I did.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was funny because I had dropped my phone and something happened to it. It didn't crack, but internal something happened. So they had to ship me a phone too. Everything was in New Orleans before I actually
before you even got there. Yeah. That was God saying,
"You're supposed to be here." She's like, "Here's these packages for you." I was like, "My phone, my cards."
I know you had a good time down there too.
Yes. Well, you know, we go to Essence every year, and most people know that. We go to the Essence Festival every year. But really, I end up always networking and meeting someone that helps me to propel my brand, my business, something to the next level. So
yes.
It's, you know, I have a good time, but it's party with a purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, you already spoke earlier, too, how important networking is. I am a huge proponent of networking. You know, you just never know who somebody is or what they'll need and how you might be able to help them.
No, you really don't. Important. You know, it's also, I was kind of talking to my mom about this the other day, and, you know, I was talking to her about the importance of networking and just how over the last so many years, I started out the SEA Awards, and I met, we'll just start with Tony Neal and Gennaro. Gennaro and DJ Infamous are the ones who do the Southern Entertainment Awards. And I met Tony Neal, who is the president of the Core DJs, and the Big DM, who is the vice president. And then just from those four people alone, I could go through and do this whole, like, just branching off of all these different people and, you know, all these different people that I've met and worked with, all because of this small core of people that I met 8 years ago. And Tony and I still work together. Gennaro and I still work together. Gennaro, I went to my first SEA Awards in 2008, and I've been doing the graphics since 2010 or 2011. So I'm going on like 4 or 5 years with him of doing all of the graphics for the conference. And it is, you know, it's amazing. But my mom said to me the other day, and so did my publicist, they said, you know what, Lindsey, yes, networking is part of it, but you have to have good business sense. And so you can network all day long and meet all of these amazing people, but if you don't take care of business, they're not going to keep referring people to you. And so I love to network, and you know, there's so many reasons as to why I chose to hire, you know, and get office space, but I really feel like my workload has gotten so big that I feel like my clients are suffering because I'm not able to give them the attention and, of course, the turnaround time that they deserve. And so my clients are important to me, and they really, truly drive, you know, the majority of my business decision. I need somebody that can, you know, I've kind of I've kind of spoiled my clients, and I need somebody who can keep spoiling them for me because they keep coming back and they keep referring more people and more people. And
right.
I mean, at this point, I don't advertise anymore. 98% of my clients are referral based, and I mean, it's word of mouth, and it's that ability to network and do a good job. So big proponent of networking and doing good business.
Definitely, definitely. So can you real quickly, like in 30 seconds, explain what branding means to you?
Oh, I can't do that in 30 seconds, Dr. Renee. Branding to me is a visual image for what your company or person as a person actually stands for. It is your inner philosophies about how you do business, and it is putting a visual image with that to display your brand voice, if that makes any sense at all in 30 seconds.
No, that was great. It was perfect. Please tell everyone how to get in touch with you so that if they need stuff, they can get stuff from you. Let everyone know all your social media, and I'll also type it all up, and it'll be in the box below. But let us know so we can reach out to you.
I have about 15 different social medias, but you can find everything at MoneyGraphics or at S5NIE. Those are my two. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. My email is info@moneygraphicssllc.com. My website is moneygraphicssllc.com. S59.com is coming soon. And then you can purchase printing materials at moneygraphicssllc.net.
Great. Thank you so much, Lindsey. I just want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight, and those that end up watching us recorded, thank you as well. The show is here to motivate and inspire, and I just hope that we were able to touch at least one person tonight because you need to live the life you deserve. Life is entirely too short to be miserable, so you should do it. Just do it. Like she said, your future begins now, so start now and take small steps to create the life that you deserve. And please tell me if you know anybody else you think that would motivate and inspire you, and you would like me to talk to them, let me know. You can leave it in the comments below the video. If you are inspired or motivated by anything we said tonight, please leave us a comment. We love to hear that, or send me an email. You can always reach me at Ask Dr. Renee, and that's on everything: Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. And please follow me, like my page, subscribe to my YouTube channel. All this is very important for branding and for getting the word out there so we can touch more people, which is why I do this. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you, Dr. Renee.